Everyone. Welcome to the Pearl City Neighborhood Board. Today is March 25th, 2025. It's 7 o'clock. We're at Momilani Community Center here. Sun is going down, beautiful area, and hopefully we can keep the boom boxes down tonight as they drive by. First thing I'm going to go over is rules for speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to open the list of participants and click on the raise hand icon by their name, those of you that are virtual. When recognized by the chair, address comments to the chair. Remarks should not exceed 3 minutes. Please cancel the raise hand icon after speaking. Presentations must be kept under 10 minutes. The chat box can be used to ask simple questions. The board members are required to keep their video active during board meeting. Note, the board may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Specific issues not noted on the agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. Board actions such as draft resolutions and outgoing letters will be posted for the public on Google Drive. Okay, first thing, starting right off, we're honored here to have Cub Scout Pack 75 with Cub Master Scott Ogasawara, and I'll let you take the lead there. Can everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you very much. You guys take care. Have a great week. Okay. Right now, I hope everybody gets a chance to sign in. It is our public record. Make sure everybody is there. I didn't bring the roll call. To be roll call.
Okay. When I call your name, please say here. Kekuni Agard. He's not here. Okay. Ronnie A. Wong. Okay. Charmaine Doran.
Here.
Okay. Guy Inouye.
Here.
Okay. Brandon Lee. Here's here. Okay. Heidi Weber. She's here. Lawrence Miyazano Jr. He's not here. Daniel Smith. He's here. Nathan Takeuchi.
Here.
Okay. Tony Velasco.
Here.
And Larry Bray.
Here. Okay, we have quorum. And that's great news. I think we've been consecutive for the last, I want to say, 10 years since we reduced from 13 down to 11. That was the magic number to make quorum all the time. Okay, moving on, public safety reports. Honolulu Fire Department. They are out active right now, and I want to know what's going on. Okay, we'll come back to them later. Honolulu Police Department.
Okay, hi, good evening. Lieutenant Glenn Iwasaki, District 3, Pearl City.
Welcome, Lieutenant.
Hey, Larry. So I'll start with the reported incident report. This is compared from January 2025 to February 2025. So motor vehicle thefts was 6, went up to 9. Burglaries was 7, stayed at 7. Thefts was 26, went down to 17. And car break-ins was 4, went up to 5. Total calls for service in this area, it was 1,535, went down to 1,394. District 3 total calls 5,191 in January compared to 4,966 in February. Our safety tip of the month is do not leave your valuables in your car. It is not a storage unit, it's a target. And also from last meeting, I know we had that speeding issue in that area fronting Children's House, Komomai Drive. So I know the donuts is still continuing. So I gotta try to think about how we can enforce that because it's very sporadic and if we post there, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, that might be something that the community would have to work with us And if they do observe it, witness it, they can get a plate for us. That would really, really help us. But we did do enforcement out there in Beat 371, we call it, which is Palisades area, including that Children's House area. So from the last meeting to today, 36 citations was issued. Of the 36 citations, 29 of them were strictly that speeding on Komomai fronting Children's House. So we sent out a team couple days to, of course, educate the public first and then enforce. So yeah, approximately 30 citations were given for people speeding. I believe both ways, just in that fronting that Children's House area. So hopefully that we will continue that and that'll alleviate the speeding there. But as far as the donuts happening, in the middle of the night, like I said, because of that area, it's just really hard for us to enforce it. But we'll figure something out, and hopefully we can find out who's doing it.
Okay, Lieutenant, that concludes your report.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'm sure our Pacific Palisades board members have some comments. I just looked on Nextdoor website a couple days ago, and somebody posted a SUV that had passed them in that left turn only lane to go into Children's House, and it continues. So I'll get my board members together here in a little creativity. I'm in the process of purchasing remote cameras for the cemetery. I might be able to loan one out. It's cellular, solar. We can put it anywhere, and I also have a trail camera that we might be able to donate, and we might be able to catch them in the act. Okay, board members, any questions? Go ahead, here, Dan.
Yes, one of my suggestions would be to put speed humps at the bottom of each hill. In other words, whether you're coming from Komomai side or you're coming from Palisades side, have a speed hump at the bottom. And, after you've gone around the turn, people would be prepared, because I'm always amused when if I drive 29 miles an hour in the 25-mile-an-hour zone, I get this huge parade, and I think speed humps would, particularly on that curve, would help. Thank you.
Charmaine,
Yeah.
Vice Chair.
I wanted to say thank you for the enforcement. The word got around, and we hope that people slow down when you guys are out there, and that encourages a change of behavior. But they were actually at the school as well. So the community policing was out there with the school, and that was really helpful. So please say thank you for all those things. We appreciate it. It's just about, it's not catching people. We just want them to be aware and drive slower, right? And so I think you're helping. We appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank
Guy.
you. Yeah.
Lieutenant, in terms of issuing a citation, at what speed are you folks doing the enforcement? Because on Vineyard, when they went, I think 5 miles above, they recorded 80,000, not citations, but 80,000 people that were going 5 miles an hour over. So now then they looked at 11, and they said that by 11 they might bring it down to about 15 to 20,000. So how many miles per hour over 25 are you folks cautioning people or giving out citations?
Yeah, you know what? I don't have the answer to that, but each officer, they so even going 1 mile per hour over is speeding,
Right.
technically. But yeah, so that's up to each individual officer. Personally, some like you said, depends on the area too. Like if some areas going 5 miles over is already pretty dangerous, like if you're on a small street and stuff like that, rather than if you're on the highway, then if it's 55, like I said, we give the discretion to the officers. So some do, like you said, 11 over, some will go 15 over. That's all up to them. So, but I don't have the answer to what speeds that people were cited at, but I can get the I can get I guess an estimate for you folks
Okay.
of what the speeds are, because it's good to know, right? It is good to know if people is going 45, 50, and what speeds that we did catch people at. So yeah, but the enforcement's not gonna stop, so it's gonna continue. So we'll at the next meeting we'll get the numbers, and hopefully the numbers went down, and people is more compliant now.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, board members, any other questions? Rodney?
Yeah, Lieutenant Iwasaki. Just like to thank you for putting out that speed monitoring sign on Omaimai by the Highlands Intermediate School. Kind of would like to get it closer to the entrance, the back entrance of PC Highlands, but there's a slight incline over there, so I don't know if that would be possible. But you guys did it, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. So yeah, when I told Kelly Makanani, who's a CPT sergeant now, they moved it right away. But you said closer to the back entrance to Pro City Highlands, is it?
Yes, sir.
Highlands Elementary.
Elementary. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I
We'll
think
see if
there
we
was a
can.
lot of people always turning over there, and they coming down the road at a pretty good clip, and that's where a lot of the students cross over and go into that back entrance.
Okay. We'll I'll have um Sergeant Makanani kind of scope out the area to make sure it's safe. As long as that thing doesn't run around. So incline is okay, decline is not good. But I'll see if we can get it out there closer to the entrance. It's not gonna
Yeah, that-
obstruct anything for the school, right? We don't want to make it too,
no, I think if you put it across the street, just in sight of everybody. Normally, what you do is you have it facing Diamond Head side. If you face it Eva side, I think that'd be getting their attention too.
Okay. We'll see if that can be done. And if it can be done, then tomorrow's a holiday. We'll try to get it done by Thursday.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, that is, I would say, probably one of the greater tools to deter speeding.
Yeah. We wish we had more of them. We only get one, so we've been, trying to switch it up and stuff like that. But yeah, if that'll help, then we definitely try move it over there.
Okay, board members,
Thank you.
any other, I don't see anybody else. One last thing there, Lieutenant. I received an email from a Wailuna resident that a report that there's illegal cockfighting going on underneath the high tension wires at Waiau District Park. It's that tall grassed area that belongs to HECO. There's an area that's been carved out as a circle, and there's roosters that have been tied up in there. So I haven't gone up there to look at it yet, but I just wanted to let you know if your officers do have time, we'll try to tip you off as soon as we hear it. I'm going to try to get some of the neighbors to it, at least to make a report, because it's a hit and miss trying to catch somebody when most of the time you probably won't be able to find them. But I want to
Yeah,
just let you know that it's going on.
Okay, no, we'll get to that. Yeah, we have the crime reduction unit, so I'll send them out over there and check it out. Yeah, if there's chicken fighting going on, then we'll get to enforce that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For the public, anybody have a question for HPD? Hey, seeing none, Lieutenant. Thank you. You have a good evening, safe week, and be in contact with you, and stay away from those big herds of electric bikes.
Will do. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day or good night.
Okay, moving on to public testimony. Anybody here have anything they want to bring up? You got 3 minutes. Okay, everybody's happy this week? Oh. Okay, great. Welcome. And please identify yourself.
My name is Sean Schmidt. I live in, is it on? Can I hear?
Get a little closer to the mic.
Hello? I can hear myself. Hello. My name is Sean Schmidt. I live right up the road from here. I was just wondering about Palisades. Are you guys ever is there ever gonna be a second entrance? A second road to come in and out?
Can you repeat, like, this
Is
is a
there
very
any-
courteous person that just went by with
I
a
know, right?
loud bumper.
Is there ever gonna be a second entrance going into Palisades? Only because I'm thinking about the Lahaina fire. If a fire starts there in the beginning, why, I think it's Aama Street, and it blocks off the entrance, what are the people gonna do?
I'm gonna let my vice chair answer that question because she really provides oversight. Also, our legislators that we have here tonight will probably add something to it. But Charmaine, could you please let her know the
Thank you.
actions that the Pearl City Neighborhood Board is taking, and
Thank
especially
you
under your leadership?
for your comments. Alternate route, especially an emergency route, remains a top priority for this board. I think it's 2 years now. We've had it as a priority. Last year, our Hawaii State Legislature adopted a resolution directing the city to start working on looking for an alternate plan, emergency plan. And I think they also adopted 2 different resolutions. So right now, the city is going through a budget process, and also on the agenda is an update for Pearl City projects. So when our city officials come up, I will be sure to ask which of our priorities have they put forward, or what planning is taking place. And I also hope that you will continue to support us and ask them the same, so that it's just not us doing it, that it's all of us together.
Because I used to live up there like, I want to say 50 something years ago. But when my parents first bought up there, they had mentioned that there was going to be a second road, an emergency road. I'm not sure how many of you guys, but my parents bought up there in 69. And I guess, yeah, when they bought it, that's what the clause was in buying the home. But there was no paper written on it, but they did tell my parents that that was the plan for a second road for emergencies. That's why we left Palisades, because there was a landslide and it kept us from going in. And my mom had 3 of us. So I'm just wondering, like, what's going to happen to the people up there if they're not prepared? Like Lahaina, are we going to wait and then have them go to the valley? Or I'm just worried about my community, and I have family up there too, but I don't want them dying like Lahaina. They had nowhere out. They couldn't get up. They died. And I don't want to wait until we have a mass tragedy to happen. That's just one of my concerns living in Pearl City. I would like to see a road, maybe they can go in from, what is that, Maimano Ridge? I'm not sure on,
Or Ridge area.
yeah. But just for them to have an exit, say the front is burning. You can't get out.
Well, we're working on it, and those things there's no solutions overnight.
Yeah, I understand. I just thinking of.
Senator Elefante, Representative Takayama, Representative Chun. Senator Elefante, you want to add anything to this? Because they have already taken action.
Yeah, just concerned. I'm
So-
just a concerned community
Thank you.
member in here that it just takes a
So-
spark.
So let him
Thank
have the
you.
mic and he'll give you an update.
Last week, the House passed the state budget. That now goes to the Senate. Included in the state budget is $1 million appropriation for construction, engineering, design, hopefully construction of a alternate emergency route for Pacific Palisades. As has been mentioned at these meetings before, it won't be easy because the closest path is through Pearl City Industrial Park. And that's a very steep incline between the Waihona Street and Palisades. So Senator Elefante and I have been in touch with Transportation Director Ed Sniffen, and he's willing to take the lead on it with the help of the city, but it won't be an easy task. So we set in the House $1 million to try and get a design study underway. Whether it costs that much or maybe less, we don't know, but we're starting with that. Senator.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Brandon Elefante, State Senate. I concur with Rep. Takayama. Him and I have been working with Vice Chair Duran and many members who are on this board from Pacific Palisades. So thank you for the question. We did adopt resos as Vice Chair Duran had mentioned. So the hope is, as the budget is now in the Senate, that is a top priority for me in representing that community as well as both of us. So that as we come through the final process, that we still have that placeholder of $1 million to do planning and designing with HDOT, and then working with the different entities to look at what's the best emergency access route. And we don't know what that will be. It may not be like a road, like a roadway. It could just be gravel or something, but something to give remedy to the community residents in Palisades.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that's an important point. It's an emergency route, right? So it won't be necessarily paved and lane like Pumamay. It'll be an emergency route because we don't want other people to use it as a shortcut through Palisades. We just want it used in case of an emergency, as was pointed out, like a fire or something else.
Right. Our legislative team can move mountains. And for $1 million, we're going to see what we get out of it. All right. And ma'am, also, we're really concerned about wildfires. So we've been pushing a wildfire mitigation plan. Matter of fact, tomorrow I've got a special meeting that we're doing for with the Red Cross and with CERT, because we want to try to recruit more CERT volunteers per person. But thank you for your comments. And Vice Chair, thank you. And Senator Elefante, Representative Takayama, thank you very much. Okay, any other questions? Any issues? All right, good. Seeing none, we're going to move on. The next portion here is we're going to get into board business. And we've made it a point for this meeting here to take a moment to recognize all our volunteers in Pearl City and with IAEA and Waipahu that have come up and helped us adopt parks. Parks and Rec, they got their hands full. You hear it in the news all the time. Restrooms, get vandalized. And of course, when it rains quite a bit, it's hard for them to keep up cutting grass. And also their employees have been minimized, as everybody has with the lack of staff. But I want to thank my vice chair. She did a lot of homework. And we've got a number of volunteer groups that we want to recognize. And I'm going to move up to that microphone up there. And like I said, we can't thank enough our volunteers for IAEA, Pearl City, and Waipahu for all the things they've done. And especially with those volunteers, we also got the military that have helped out quite a bit. But the first volunteer group I'd like to recognize is the Rotary Club of Pearl Ridge. And this is Adopt a Block, the Pearl Ridge, the historic Pearl Harbor Bike Path, and also the Puuloa Spring area. To Kukua means to help, assist, and support others without benefit or personal gain. The Pearl City Neighborhood Board honors the Rotary Club of Pearl Ridge for embodying the core value by adopting and caring for the Pearl Harbor Bike Path, Puuloa Spring area. We extend our sincerest appreciation for your ongoing volunteerism, extraordinary willingness, and to give back selflessly to the Pearl City community. Mahalo nui loa. So, accepting this award, we have a few of those volunteers here, and everybody knows Barry Villamar. Barry, on behalf of Pearl City Neighborhood Board, let's put this, they're going to get the pictures right. Put this together. Of course, everybody knows Barry because My Pearl City, that website that Barry maintains, it's fantastic with all the action, taking care of all our keiki, giving them widespread glory for the things that they've done. But Barry, I want to say a few words on behalf of the Rotary Club.
We adopted the Puuloa Springs right off Blaisdell Park. And it was a crime-ridden, drug-infested, actually I call it a hellhole. And we brought in our community, our volunteers. We had 5 different Rotary clubs, 5 different Lions clubs that came in there and wiped it out. And we created a really beautiful Native Hawaiian garden. With our Interact clubs from several schools in Pearl City and IAEA, we made it into a place that you can actually walk by now and enjoy. So I want to thank all of them, but our Rotary Club led the way to make it happen. And our elected officials were there too. Greg was always there helping us clean the area. So thanks to them as well. And to my man right here. This is our man. This is Mr. Pro City right here. So I want to thank you very much for allowing us to be here today and taking care of Pulua Springs. We have that officially adopted. It was really a great moment. We brought all our Interact kids down there at Pro City High School, Highlands Intermediate, and we did a ceremony. It was pretty cool. So I just want to thank everybody for that.
Thank you, Dick Moscow, our regards too.
Dick Moscow was our president and our district governor. He basically led the way. And then I'm the president now of the club, and we just kind of carrying it forward. I'm helping his work move it forward. So into the next president. So, but thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, and I won't read all the certificates. They all say pretty much the same thing. But the next group we wanted to recognize is the Shinyo in Hawaii. They adopted the Pacheco Neighborhood Park. Is anybody here from them for here tonight? Anybody virtual? Okay, we'll hit them up later on. But I personally have gone out to Pacheco Park. I had a number of calls. We used to have a lot of teenagers vandalizing, breaking beer bottles, and plus the homeless that took over the restroom area up there, and our youth groups playing ball couldn't use it, so we took care of that working with HPD, and it's been pretty good. The park looks nice. The next one is Rylan Tanaka, and he personally adopted Breen Harimoto Manana Skate Park. Is Rylan here today? Okay, not virtual. The next one is the Eco Rotary Club of Kaka'ako. They also adopted the Pearl Harbor Bike Path. Is anybody here from them today? And the Pearl City Community Church, which is dear to my heart because it's right next to the cemetery there in Pearl City. We've done a lot to help them, especially the Pearl City Lions Club. They also adopted the bike path. And it's nice to see all these groups because the bike path is really a historic, beautiful area. I was out there today working on Peace Bell, and a number of people stopped by to say hi, and I got a chance to chat with them. They all enjoy that bike path, except there is some dangerous areas there that we got to continue to work. The NAACP, they adopted Neil Blaisdell Park. Anybody here from the NAACP? Okay, get them up. And then the Mauna Loa Nimitz Lions. Yeah, they're usually here, but we'll get them. Actually, we're going to go to them for this one. But they also helped out with the bike path. The Leeward Community Church, Pearl City Industrial Area, Waihona Road. Okay, nobody here. Okay, Fernandez, Ohana, Pacific Palisades Community Park. Of course, that particular area there needs care and feeding. We're still trying to keep up with graffiti. Anybody knows Gucci, let me know because I'm on the hunt for them. Okay, and that concludes our community awards. We're going to get these to them. Also, if we can find out when they have their meetings, we'll go to the church and give it to them. So next thing up on the agenda, if I remember, is moving on business. Well, Charmaine, go ahead.
I want to thank the Tanakas who tuned in for a little while. I think they said they'd be back. I'm not sure. I also wanted to thank the city who helped to touch base with people. Shaw and Kylie from DFM and Denny from DPR. In addition, I believe Mr. Wu Anson has a certificate for Mr. Verray for his work on the Peace Bell. So thank you for everything you've done at the Peace Bell.
Anson, you get to present this. We got to get a picture of Anson here, show his boss, because I got him in for a pay raise right now. Come on over here. Okay, let's put it up here. Okay, I'm not gonna. Oh, it says the same thing as what I said before. Oh. All right, you got it? Okay, thank you. Well, I'm honored. I didn't, Charmaine, thank you so much. I didn't expect that. Hey, I did do things from the heart. That's what it's all about. But we got a lot of people, and that's what it's all about. I keep telling everybody the best place on the planet is Hawaii. And of course, the nice thing is I got a taste of Hawaii back in 1974 as a young sailor coming here. I saw the aloha, I felt the aloha, I hugged the aloha, and I've seen what's happened over the years, and things have degraded a little bit. But the thing is, there's still a lot of good people here, and that's my inner circle. The outer circle are the ones that whine, and all they do is complain. So all of you are in my inner circle. So moving on, we're going to go on to government affairs. Chris, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you, and we're going to get rolling. This meeting's going along fast.
Good evening, members of the board.
Closer.
What's that? Oh, a little closer. Hi. I'm Chris Tanahara, Deputy Public Affairs Officer with Navy Region Hawaii. I sent you our board report, so I'll keep it really short because I know we've got other things on the agenda. The one thing I did want to call out is that there was a notice in Sunday's paper announcing the availability of a draft environmental assessment for a new Red Hill water treatment plant. At Joint Base Pearl Harbor, the project will connect water from the Navy's Red Hill shaft to the Joint Base Pearl Harbor drinking water system and end discharging water into Halaba Stream. So if you look in Sunday's paper, there is a notice. The notice is also available at the IAEA Public Library as well as the Hawaii State Public Library. There is a website and there is information that we shared with the board. And so if we wanted to make that available to other members of the audience, please do so. Or if you would like us to send you a copy of the notice, please come see me and I will send you a copy of the notice for you to review. We are accepting comments until April the 20th. So, take a look at the draft environmental impact statement. If you have comments, we will be accepting written comments until, again, the 20th of April.
Okay. And I'll make sure the board members get your reports.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Get there.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So you guys are gonna be discharging the water into Halaba Stream?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, appreciate that. My mother has a house. The backside is on Halaba Stream. And for years, and I think I brought this up with Mr. Flynn, Mr. Juno, it's being overgrown at a rapid rate. And they have to pay $2,000, it might have went up, for flood insurance. But at one point in time, they were asking who was going to clean up that area and make it a stream again. Because if you look at it, I mean, give it maybe about a couple, 3, 4 years, and it may be all overgrown and ready to walk on. So that would be a question that I would have.
Okay. I would encourage you to submit the question to the team that's responsible for the draft environmental impact statement. They would be the best, people to answer or address your concern. So again, that information is available in the notice of availability that we shared with you guys.
Yeah, and most likely that's the city's responsibility, that stream. So Rodney, let you and I draft a letter up. We'll get that to the city.
Yeah.
City representatives, and then they can work with the Navy, because I think the Navy will play a little part with that.
Yeah.
Since that's a discharge.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Questions?
any questions for Chris right now? And she's going to turn it over to Duna. Hey, thank you.
Gent that sponsors all the bike path cleanups with city and county is the storm drain guy. So he might be a good point of contact too. I thought I'd start with that. So I'll put you in touch with him as well. Good evening from Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill. Not a lot to report. We did start degassing tank 3. This is the third set of 2 tanks. If you remember last month, we go by sets of 2. Tank 3 is started degassing. Tank 4 was going to start at the end of the week, but we're probably going to start it on Monday. As with all the other degassing, to keep the VOCs, to watch the VOCs level. We have those air quality monitoring, 9 of them around the facility itself and in the correctional facility there as well. So we can monitor that air. All those updates, all those, we call them AQMs, the air quality monitorings, or on the website. They're also on our dashboard. So we get hourly readings, and it's really easy to check on those on the dashboard on the website. Tank 7 and 8 pressure washing is all POW. They're working out the details right now on the inspection by the regulators, and then hopefully the final certification that those tanks are clean, 7 and 8. And then lastly, Red Hill Highlights is a brand new, kind of a one-page newsletter. I'll make sure you get it. We just put it out today, and I didn't have a chance to turn it around, but it's also on the website with one click. But I'll make sure you all have that and make sure that you can share it with the community members. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay,
Any
great.
questions?
Board members, any questions for the Navy? Virtual? Anybody? Nope, looks like we're good. All
I'll
right.
introduce my good friend Victor Flint. You might remember him. I don't know if.
Thanks, Brother Duna. Victor Flint, Naval Facilities, and in the old days, we called us Public Works. Folks, after 50 years of government service, I'm going to retire. As a matter of fact, today is my last day of work. So this is very special. It's also my last neighborhood board. And board, community, thank you so much for your dedication and hard work to better our Pearl City community. And I'm humbled and honored to be a part of that journey. So thank you so much. So with that, I say to you all, aloha and ahui ho kako. Thanks, folks. See you at Costco.
Right. Well, we're going to miss Victor and whole decade. And, you know, like Senator Elefante, never missing a meeting. You know, he's always here. But from the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, we did want to recognize you because you are special. The Navy team's been very special. And one thing that Vice Chair Charmaine Duran and I are going to do is we still have one more thank you. You heard all the volunteer certificates for the community, but we got a big thank you for the Navy because the bike trail, a lot of the brunt, hauling out a lot of the trash. And Victor, personally, I don't know how many vehicles that your team has pulled out of the Lahua area there by Loa Streams. I mean, every time they go, it's 25 vehicles at a time. They've all been stripped and they're getting them out of there. But the good news is, thanks to our legislative team, we're going to move the proposals to move the Pearl City Post Office, and we're going to put it in that spot because Victor ain't going to be around to move those cars. And we're going to give the post office all the room they need for all their vehicles. But anyway, on behalf of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, we have something for Victor to put up there in Nanakuli, where he lives. On behalf of the Neighborhood Commission Office, the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21, on the occasion of your retirement, we hereby present the certificate of recognition to Mr. Victor Flint, Community Relations Manager, Naval Facilities, Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Hawaii, for your dedicated leadership, communication skills, numerous interactions with the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 at our monthly board meetings. During and after the historic Red Hill fuel spill Pearl Harbor disaster, you specifically kept our board updated on fuel spill cleanup actions and shutdown of the facility. Your truly outstanding leadership and can-do attitude motivated many sailors, government civilians, as they integrated themselves with the community members, cleaning up tons of abandoned vehicles, trash, and other material along the historic bike trail that posed a huge public safety issue. With heartfelt thanks, we thank you for your dedication to the community of Pearl City, but participating in our board meetings for the past decade. We wish you the best on your retirement from federal government, civil service. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Rodney.
Brother. So be safe, man. Yeah, we got lunch. Hey. Okay, moving on to government affairs. I don't even have to look at the agenda. We got Mr. Jeff Hickman here. Jeff's going to take the lead.
He has more government service than years I'm alive. Thank you, sir, for your service. I have some answers. I'm Jeff Hickman with the Governor's Office, State of Hawaii DOD. I'm the Public Affairs Officer. Vice Chair Duran, you asked what federal employees, what can they do when I mentioned the governor's Operation Hire Hawaii. And the number one thing they can do is they can go to any state department website, and on the top, there's a link on every single page linking them to dherd.hawaii.gov. And it has specific departments and what they're looking for, and it has a whole bunch of resources for federal employees who are displaced because of what's going on in DC. Here in Hawaii, they're affected by job cuts. The governor has a proclamation, and he has this mission, the governor's Operation Hire Hawaii, going on. So they have a job fair this Friday as well. Lots of information on that website. You asked exactly what they could do, and that would be the first thing they should do. Board Member Awong, you asked about the notches on Komomai Drive. I need to talk to you more on that to get more information, but I can look into that one as well more. Vice Chair Duran, you asked about the DLNR and State Homeless Outreach Coordinator. They are in contact with each other, so I did confirm that. I didn't have that for the last meeting. And the last thing I wanted to report was a good news. Tomorrow is a dedication ceremony for the Daniel Keakaka State Veterans Home in Kapolei. This is the facility that's right across from the Walmart, you know, the big fairground area. And we had to, we tried to get it in Leahi by Diamond Head. We tried to get it in Aiea, but Kapolei ended up being the best location for us. And their board worked with us. And there's a lot of tough meetings. And I remember those meetings asking them for permission to build and stuff to do. And I can see some of that action here tonight as brings back good memories back in 2017. So that's going to be dedicated tomorrow on Kuhio Day. And we have members of the Akaka family who will be in attendance for that. So just kind of wanted to mention that. The governor will be there, and so will Brendan Elefante, Senator Elefante there. Any questions for me or the governor's office?
Okay, board members, any questions for Mr. Hickman? Okay, seeing none virtual. Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you for the report. Since we don't have anybody regularly here from DOE, we'll pass. I'll pass it on through you. My family was particularly interested in the high school tennis courts in the whole area, Aiea, Pearl City, and Waipahu. Very, very poor maintenance of the high school tennis courts.
The Pearl City High School tennis courts.
Well, not just Pearl City. Like my grandchildren reported, and their mother and my daughter, Aiea, Pearl City, the parks, and also Waipahu. Generally, it's a tennis court maintenance is a problem, both schools and public.
Okay, some of those might fall under city and county, but for the DOE, for the Pearl City High School and Aiea, I can look into that.
The Aiea High School, Waipahu High School.
Waipahu High School, okay.
You know, those are, and now I'll mention it briefly. I wish Pearl City High School could make a deal like they did with Kahuku between the DOE and the city on a swimming pool.
On swimming pool usage.
No, just
putting one in.
Putting one in, yeah.
Okay, Pearl City Pool. They just got the new gym and stuff fixed. We got to talk to some of those guys over there.
Right, but they need a 50-meter pool or something up at the state. Periodically, and I know why that happened, and that was good, but it would be good if we had, you know, a lot of schools they could rotate, you know,
rotate attendance.
Yeah, one, a lot of different schools could pass the word back and forth.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Okay, Vice Chair.
I agree with Board Member Smith. Pro City is one of those communities that doesn't have direct ocean access. And the more facilities we have, the better. But actually, there is a question online regarding, I think, the blessing or the opening. Mr. Tolentino wants to know, did the state invite veteran service organizations to the opening, the Akaka home opening tomorrow?
They did. They invited specific ones who assisted in getting it done. So there was a VA, there's a VA Health, Veterans Healthcare. There's about 5 or 6 that were invited to that event. Yes. I'm the MC, so I saw the list already. So I know that they're invited, and I know they're going to attend because we recognize them. When you read down the list of 15 VIPs before everybody else is. No, they definitely were invited. Good question, Mr. Tolentino.
Is the VFW on that list?
I am not sure. I know that they're not attending tomorrow, so I can ask that question.
Thank you.
Hey, any other questions from the board, community? Seeing none, Jeff?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, representing the Hawaii Department of Transportation, Mr. Casey Abe.
Good evening, Chair Vereen, members of the Pro City Neighborhood Board, KCR from the State DOT Highway Division. Before I start, I wanted to mention that State Representative Matsumoto is working with the HDOT and the city and is currently constructing a secondary emergency exit through the Mililani-Malka District Park onto the H2 freeway going northbound towards Waihawa. The road will initially be a gravel road, but eventually, when funds is available, the city will pave the road so the city buses can use the emergency exit. They are concerned that heavy buses will get stuck in the gravel. The road is scheduled to be substantially completed this Friday, but we need to wait for the new gate to arrive before the project is 100% complete. Board members may want to look at the emergency exit this weekend. We are working with the city on a memorandum of agreement on who will be responsible for opening the gates in case of an emergency and maintain the gravel road. I want to thank Senator Elefante for his March 5th email and Board Member Inouye for his email concerning the overgrowth of vegetation at the Pro City off-ramp westbound, specifically as you approach Ho'omalu Street and the Pro City Gateway sign that is maintained by the Lions Club. Our maintenance crew started cutting the overgrowth with a tractor mower on the 14th, continuing cutting the overgrowth on the 18th, but during my field inspection this morning, our maintenance crew still needs to do some weed whacking. Also, in his March 5th email, Senator Elefante expressed his concern of the excessive graffiti on the Exit 10 sign. Our maintenance crew did their best by manually removing the graffiti on March 14th. On February 28th, a public affairs office and local TV news announced that for a 2-month period between March 1st and April 29th, our existing 10 red light safety cameras were supposed to start mailing warning citations to the vehicle's registered owner when the vehicle exceeds posted speed limit by more than 5 miles per hour. HDOT is seeking additional funds from the legislature to install additional cameras at signalized intersections due to requests by neighborhood board and elected officials. As Board Member Inouye mentioned, per this past Sunday Star Advertiser interview with our DOT director, if we had started issuing the warning citation on March 1st, we would have issued approximately 80,000 citations to motorists exceeding the posted speed limit by 5 miles per hour at the 10 intersections. At 10 miles over, the number will drop to 20 citations per week, and at 15 miles over, about 77,000 citations per week. The highest speeder was on Ward Avenue, going 88 miles per hour through a 35 mile per hour zone. And finally, at last month's meeting, board members requested that HDOT should reconsider are no U-turn signs at the HECO power plant entrance. I'm not sure if your elected officials reached out to our HDOT administration, but if they did, I want to thank them because it worked. We will be replacing the existing no U-turn signs with a sign like the one we installed at the Hale Mohalu 2 entrance, where only passenger vehicles will be allowed to make a U-turn. This is the work order that has been sent to our Oahu District Maintenance School, who will be installing the new sign as soon as possible. I'll report back at a future meeting when the new sign is installed. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Hey, thank you, Casey. Thank you for all the updates. Brendan, okay. Sorry, I didn't see who was head up. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Abe. I was just wondering, if there was any movement on the, Hart exit to the rail station from, the, turnoff from Farrington Highway going around by Leeward Community College, where the exit is blocked to do the turn back by Waihona Street to the rail station. I was
Yes, I
wondering
will
if you guys were gonna open it up again or, you know,
I
any
gotta
movement
follow
on
up.
that?
Yeah, I'll follow up with that and report back at next month's meeting. I know they're still working on the design of the traffic signal system.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we might have got confused with that traffic signal one. I was referring to the one that they built about, 4 or 5 years ago. When you take the H2 exit from, by Leeward Community College and then going up H2 and then turning off, that big loop that they made going past Waihona to the rail station.
I gotta double check on that one then. Okay. I may have to, I'm not too familiar with that one there.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah. Maybe you can email me more information, then I can
No problem.
research it.
Okay, Vice Chair.
I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Abe for the positive news about the U-turn sign and also acknowledge board members Lee's energy on this project.
Thank you, Charmaine. Okay, Guy.
Casey, so you know the shoulder lane, if they can ensure that perhaps they remove the grass somehow, some way from the shoulder lane like that, because people might still get a little bit confused because it's pretty dangerous, right? It's not much of a shoulder like that, and then we don't want them to be too confused around that bend, and you know we get a horrific rear end, so to say.
Okay.
Yeah, if they can remove the grass. But
Sure.
good job in terms of you know, getting on it, considering you folks are extremely short-handed. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, board members, any other questions for Casey? Community? All right, Casey, see you none. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our state legislature, Senator Glenn Wakai. Any representative? Seeing none. Senator Brandon Elefante, welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Gore, Vice Chair Duran, members of the Pro City Neighborhood Board and community. I'm Brandon Elefante from the State Senate. With me online is one of my staff members, Faith Kintua, and she'll be posting some information regarding my report. And so I did hand out a handout on fireworks legislation that is still alive. So for the board and the general public, anything to do with a stricter firework ban bill is dead this session. However, the measures that are still alive specifically have to do with an enforcement division in the Department of Law Enforcement, extending the illegal fireworks task force under the Department of Law Enforcement, and then changing provisions and increasing penalties and changing definitions, which are still alive. And then Rep. Chun also has a bill that the Senate is also considering and I'll let him talk more about that as it relates to fireworks if he wants. So I just want to just give you an update of what's still alive this legislative session. I know there was a lot of speeding comments that were raised. So I just want to let the board know that there are a few measures that are still alive. The Senate will be voting on a Senate concurrent resolution 23, which basically requests the Department of Transportation and law enforcement to study the possibility of a highway patrol and speed cameras along major freeways and highways in primary areas of speeding. So that's up for a floor vote in a couple of days. And essentially what that does is working with the new director, Mike Lambert, for law enforcement, is to hopefully establish some sort of state police force like they do in, say, in California, like a highway patrol, to complement what our local county police departments does. As you know, Chair, and a lot of members here, that there's a lot of racing that does occur on our freeways and roadways. So that's that. And then in addition to that, there's also Senate Bill 97, which I introduced, which basically increases fines and penalties for excessive speeding to a Class C felony. Currently now it's just sort of a misdemeanor, but that would increase the penalties for those repeat violators and offenders. So that Senate bill is being considered by the House for that. And then lastly, I just want to thank you, Trevor Ray, Vice Chair Duran, Board Member Smith, Board Member Lee, as well as Board Member Velasco and Board Member Weber for all your support and advocacy this legislative session, including you, Trevor Ray, and Board Member Smith, for being there in person. We really appreciate that. And we thank you because that makes our jobs easier when we have to pass legislation that the community gets behind and supports. So with that, and one last thing I'll mention is that we are in our final stretch of the legislative session. So there's currently about a little over 5 weeks left. And so we're past that crossover for that, but be happy to take any questions or concerns that the community might have. Thank you.
Well, Senator, thank you so much for the accolades for our board. I think this year it's probably the most we've had for all of us participating, but I'm very proud of our legislative team. I spent all day Thursday at the legislature, and I think I provided testimony to 6 different resolutions. And I could have been paybacks for you when you cut me off at my 1 minute point, but
Sorry,
but I got to tell you,
time limit.
I got to tell you, I'm so impressed. Our legislative team, you know, and of course our vice chair put that long laundry list of all our Pearl City priorities. No other board does that. We are the only one that does that, and they've got everything that we're asking for, all our requirements, and it's right there. And we let them choose, let them prioritize what they know they can get through the legislature. And probably this year we got so many good things that are happening, and I will be there for SCR 23, SB 97 to help you guys with that too. But board members, over to you. Anybody has any questions for our senator? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Senator Henry Aquino, and he provided his report from his staff. Is anybody here for Senator Aquino?
Aloha, Chair Vire, Vice Chair Duran, board members, Nathaniel Issei representing Senator Aquino this evening.
My good
Like
friend.
you mentioned, we did email you the neighborhood board reports, and with that being said, I do stand by my report. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for forwarding that. Okay, moving on to Representative Greg Takayama.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, board members. You know, it's always hard to follow Senator Elefante because he says what I was thinking of saying, but he says it much more eloquently than I do. So just to add 2 things. One is in terms of safety in our community. Another issue that's been a subject of a lot of controversy are e-bikes. And both the House and the Senate have different versions of bills that basically increase or try to increase the amount of safety measures, requiring helmets, raising the age, that sort of thing. We have different versions still alive. So it's a little bit too early to figure out what's going to happen, but there is determination in the legislature to do something because of the incidents in Kapolei where that 7-year-old girl was killed. And frankly, I cannot fathom having a 7-year-old drive any kind of vehicle on a public street. But anyway, we are determined to do something. Second thing is we're 2/3 of the way through the legislative session, as Senator mentioned. But the biggest question before us, hanging over our heads, are the impacts of federal cuts on state programs. Whether we're talking about cuts to Title I school lunches or higher education research grants, a whole range of issues that are still concerning us. That's why I don't think you're going to see major spending decisions made, possibly not even before the end of the session. And there's serious talk about us having to come back in special session because to allow time for the federal issues to be resolved. Our Attorney General has joined with other Attorney Generals in fighting as many of the cuts as possible, but it's still in a holding pattern. So that's, as I said, the biggest question we have before us is we've seen estimates anywhere from 300 million to as much as 800 million each year impacting the state of Hawaii in federal cuts. But, you know, we just don't know yet. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, Representative Takayama, thank you so much. And yeah, we feel your concerns, and you know, with Department of Education going away, you know, there's a big question mark out there what programs will get cut. But and I'm hope that you guys will counter those issues. And of course, we've got Nestor Garcia coming up afterwards, and that's key with Congressman Case. We got a lot of faith in him. But thank you so much. What you've done for Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery, you're going to start seeing the improvements here shortly. The money's starting to come in now. I've got a lot of faith in the city. I'm hoping we're going to get that grant. But it's all with you, Senator Elefante, with Representative Chun and Senator Aquino and Senator Wakai, all of you backing it. We're going to recover that cemetery, and it's going to be family is going to be much happier, and it'll be a place for a lot of people to go to. But thank you for all the support.
Well, thank you. I'm fortunate to work as part of a team with other members as well as the neighborhood board.
Yep, especially when nobody else has done anything like this before. So board members, any questions for our representative? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much, and I'll see you in a week. Okay, moving on to Representative Corey Chun. Welcome.
Good evening, board members, Pearl City community. So it's even harder to follow Senator Elefante and then Representative Takayama. They covered pretty much what I want to share, but since
hey, you don't have an excuse. Aren't you getting a pay raise?
So Senator Elefante mentioned that one bill on fireworks enforcement. And so I can just share about that. I brought that up previously, maybe a few meetings ago, but this is the one that has to do with drone surveillance. And one of the things that I've heard for years is that increasing penalties is not going to make a difference. You have to really focus on enforcement. So one of the issues I was really trying to solve is the issue of, why there are so little arrests, right? Because a lot of times law enforcement say, well, the prosecutors won't take the case. But then when you look at the lack of arrests, you can't really get to that if there's no arrests. And one of the big issues that we always would hear was that the police would have to catch someone in the act of actually shooting it off. Even though I've been to neighborhoods where the debris was already on the ground, that would not be enough to prosecute. The other issue was that in light of that, if you don't have that, the other thing you would need is a neighbor or a witness to testify against that person. And that's the one issue where no neighbor really wants to do that, because you'd have to basically go to court and testify that your neighbor committed a crime. And so just trying to figure out a way to to address that issue. And when you look at when you go online on New Year's, right, it's no big secret. Pearl City, they have like a really nice fireworks display, but how those videos are put online are through drones. And so, law enforcement does have drones, but I found out, really early this year that they weren't using them. And the reason why was because of this issue with the Hawaii Supreme Court case. So the short of it, to summarize, is just that, what my bill does is allows drone usage for law enforcement as long as it's over public property, so they're not flying it over your house. And the crime that they are recording is also on public property, because we all know that people like to shoot them off on streets and sidewalks and not on their actual property in their backyards. So that's one of the bills that is still moving because there's a lot of interest in that on how we can crack down on enforcement. With your indulgence, Chair, I wanted to address Board Member Smith's question about Waipahu High School, even though it's not in Pearl
Good.
City. But Waipahu High School, I have a district that encompasses both Pearl City and Waipahu High School is in my district. So I do know exactly the reason why, the issue behind that. So the design and construction was finished for the Waipahu High School tennis courts. There's funding put into the last budget to have the actual resurfacing done. What happened was there was another project already kind of going through the phases. If you kind of drive by, you can see that they're reconstructing the locker rooms. And so they're also including renovations to create a girls' locker room. But because the locker room construction is so close to the tennis courts, they didn't want that construction to damage the newly surfaced courts. So they kind of pushed it off until the locker rooms are complete. But there is funding there. So the plan is to, once the locker rooms are complete, then they will go ahead and resurface the tennis courts. Yeah. And then I just, want to give a shout out to my colleague, Representative Takayama, because he now serves on as the chair of health. And health is one of the things, I used to work with cancer patients and their families for the last 10 years. And one of the things we're moving this year that I'm really, really interested in is a measure to look at prior authorization with health insurance and also medical necessity. So as you know, when your doctor gives you an order or for a test or for medications, sometimes your health insurer will deny it because they have this process called a prior authorization, which means you need to get approvals. And also, you might get denied because your insurer might deem it not medically necessary. And we're hearing that a lot. And as insurers automate their processes, sometimes these things fall through the cracks and people get denied. And a lot of times these are situations of life and death. So I'm really thankful for, Chair Takayama for moving that forward so that we can actually really address some of the issues with our health insurance coverage and to make sure that people aren't getting denied for things that they really need. But with that, I know Board Member Agard isn't here to, time me, so I'll conclude and I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Representative Chun, thank you so much. And all those points you brought up about health. Yeah, we definitely need to work those. The deal with fireworks and the procedures, it's ridiculous. We got to bring the common sense back into it. One of the bills that I provided testimony to was Senator Favela's the other day, where he's promoting a explosive detection system like some of the cities have. They work very well. They do it by sound triangulation. So it's gunshots. And because with all the guns now and all the shootings, it's time for us to integrate that capability here and also have it tied into HIEMA. The bill was lacking a lot of things. With my expertise on the federal government side and training our military all these years, I suggested a lot of options to help them with the integration. And that is coming up with the capability to detect, locate, fix, and be able to prosecute those target areas where the explosives are going off. And drones are the key, because we can get drones onto a target. If you have them already pre-positioned around your townships, you could have a totally automatic process by computer to get them on the scene, live video, and get that into the patrol car as they're going to the area to respond. That can be done very quickly. That technology is here today. Our military uses it. So anyway, we'll be working with you on that. Board members, any questions for our Representative Chun? Charmaine.
Thank you. Representative Chen, thank you for your report. I wanted just to say two things. One, I wanted to note for our record that the police actually investigate and manage to arrest many crimes they do not actually witness. That's just part of their work. And also I wanted to ask, could you find out, you probably don't know, but could you find out if the state of Hawaii actually receives any kind of federal funding to combat explosives and hazardous materials? Because a lot of times our policing for these kind of niche things is led by funding. And consumer fireworks, especially illegal fireworks, falls under explosives. So you don't have to answer now, but if somebody could check for me if we do get money under that type of program, and if so, where that is being spent.
Okay. Yeah, I can check on that and get back to you.
Board members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Community? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Representative Trish LaChica.
Aloha, Chair and members of the board. I hope you're all doing well. This is Erin Conway on behalf of Rep LaChica, who sends her apologies for not being able to attend in person today. Our newsletter is available on Rep LaChica's website, reptrishlachica.com. And then I also shared this earlier today with Anson, so it should be in the Google Drive by the morning. But I have a pretty quick update for you guys today. As of today, our bill HB 862, which aims to expand student transportation options, is still alive and includes a new amendment to incorporate clean emission transportation, which Rep LaChica is happy to support. We did request a hearing for this bill from WAM and hope that this continues to advance. As Senator Elefante stated earlier, Rep LaChica just wanted to extend her thanks to you all, members of the board, for your support and your supportive testimony this session. We truly appreciate it and just supporting the measures. And we know that you guys all care about advocating for students and getting them to school safely. And so we will continue this conversation through the interim as well. And we'll be sure to update you. Recently, we visited Waiava Correctional Facility with Senator Elefante's office to learn more about their operations and challenges they've been facing. So we're happy to report that several of Rep LaChica's requested CIP projects have been included in the first draft of the budget. This includes $4.4 million for design and construction improvements to the wastewater system at Waiava Correctional, as well as $3.72 million to plan, design, and construct improvements to Cam Highway between Mililani and Pearl City. And I don't have a map of this right now, but would be happy to provide that later. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that our office will be having a Talk Story event on May 1st, and the topic will be community safety and transportation. And this will be at the Hawaii Okinawa Center Ballroom, and we would love for anyone to join us if you're interested. Thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Erin. And if you can please send me a reminder email on the Talk Story location, and that I'll get that out to the board members. And also I want to personally thank you for sending us emails, letting us know on Representative LaChica's bills and resolutions that she's put through. And board members, thank you all for responding, because I think with everything that we've put in, we've done everything we could to try to get those bills passed through. Board members, any questions for Erin? Okay, seeing none. Erin, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Okay. All right, moving on. Our congressional officials, we are honored here to have Mr. Nestor Garcia, Representative Congressman Ed Case. Welcome, Nestor.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and those who are attending online. Mr. Chairman, normally I would post the Congressman's quarterly report online, but you can go to his website at case.house.gov. Go to the press tab and go down to newsletters, and you'll see the first quarter report. All of our neighborhood boards that we report to in our district. I did see the afternoon hearing, Mr. Chairman, the resolution that you called for. I guess all the people of Pearl City called for. This is about the relocation of the Pearl City Post Office, which was passed out of committee in the Senate. And I'm sure that will be moving along in the state legislature, and we'll be getting a copy of that once it's approved by all in the state legislature. I want to now turn to the bad news, and that is how Congress is navigating through all of the different presidential executive orders that are resulting in the cuts to funding as well as to staffing of the federal agencies across the board. Yeah, I guess the latest executive order today was demanding that anybody who votes has to be registered and a citizen of the United States. So if the states don't comply, then they'll lose federal funding. So we're trying to see how we can navigate all that is happening from the White House. The congressman himself has joined in close to 24 letters to all the various agencies, trying to have them explain to the Congress about the impact of these federal cuts, not just to funding, but to staffing. Yeah. As you can see from the Advertiser article this past Saturday, the congressman did list in detail the impact of cuts, possible cuts. Administration says that the funding cuts are not as bad as what the media seems to share with the people, but he did list all the kinds of federal funding that goes to the Department of Education throughout the state. So even if the White House claims that there will be no dramatic cuts to federal funding, the problem is the staffing. If you don't have people to oversee and implement the programs, the money will be slow in coming, if at all, to the states through all these various programs. For example, I know the veterans portfolio for the congressman, so I'm acutely aware of what might happen to the people that are called my veterans. In fact, there is a veteran that is wandering the streets of Pearl City in her car, homeless, and I'm trying to find her. We can help her, but it's difficult to locate her because we just don't have the staff to go wandering around the streets looking for this lady. So that's the kind of problem that I have to deal with in this local office when it comes to veterans. Happy to be attending tomorrow's grand opening of the Kaka Veterans Home in Kapolei. That's good news. Hopefully that will get the VA to do the processing necessary to get those beds filled. That's something that I'm looking out to see whether or not that actually happens. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, happy to answer any questions that you or others might have.
Well, Nestor, thank you and his staff for the newsletter from Congressman Case. Also, a big thank you for him coming out for the last town hall that we had. That was really good engagement. Everybody was very respectful. And of course, with all the changes that are happening in Washington, I know I'm retired, so I get a chance to watch the news during the day. And I'm trying to think what happens behind the scenes. It's got to be tough for him, because we're all counting on him to ask those tough questions and making sure, okay, if you're going to do cuts, what's the impact before you cut? But this has been some major issues. The post office move could be a mute issue. We may not have a post office. I don't know. I hate to see the post office, the postal workers that deliver my mail in my neighborhood. They're all great people. So I hate to see that. But anyway, I'm trying to think of something else I want to bring. I just lost it. Board members, any questions for Nestor? I'll think of it in a second. Okay, seeing none virtual. Okay, and I know what it was. As far as the post office issue, then the next steps after the legislature gets done with that, the next steps would be for Senator Aquino, you, and a select few to go meet with the Navy so we could discuss this potential opportunity. And because they needed to buy in on that.
I'm quite aware of the resolution. I have a copy of it,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
So
I think there might have been a technical amendment today during the committee hearing that it must have included that the resolution be sent to the congressional delegation. It's missing in the original resolution, but it's a technical amendment that can be added additionally. I think my friends in the legislature might be watching to see what kind of cuts might be coming down the road. What they have to keep in mind is what is happening right now in the House and the Senate is trying to come up with the budget resolution that will fund not just for the current fiscal year that we're in right now, but for the next 10 years going forward. This is what's called the Budget Reconciliation Bill, what the president refers to as his big, beautiful bill. This is what the president refers to. What that will happen is that if the majority has its way, what they want to do is to extend the Trump tax cuts that were implemented back in 2017. Those tax cuts are set to expire at the end of this year. He wants to extend that out further. We need to pay for those tax cuts. What will happen then is domestic spending cuts. And the biggest target that people are talking about is Medicaid. Medicaid, which is that healthcare coverage for low-income adults and children. Yeah. So about 106,000 people are applicants of Medicaid here in Hawaii, 106,000. They will get impacted. That's the biggest, fattest target to cut, $860 billion. The committee that's in charge of Medicaid has been ordered to make cuts. And the only way to come up with that figure is to cut Medicaid. They have no other choice. Okay? Even though they say, well, we're not going to cut funding, we're going to cut abuse, fraud, and waste. That's what they say. But I don't think $800 billion is going to come from abuse, waste, and fraud. Okay, you're going to have to cut into skin and to bone to that program in order to pay for those tax cuts. That'll be extended out for 10 years. Okay? So that budget resolution bill might be done by the end of May. By the end of May. That's what the Republicans are targeting for. So at the end of May, the states will find out exactly what kind of cuts are going to happen to their programs. The end of May. That's what you need to look out for.
Well, thank you for that advice and the updates on that. Okay, community, any questions for Mr. Garcia? Seeing none? Oh, you got one question there? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Garcia. No, you can sit down. You're very good. Yeah, we all, looking at the audience, we got some blues over here and we got some reds over there. But all in all, we one people. I myself, I'm collecting Social Security right now. And every day there's people that step in to what we do. We
Louder, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we collect. So, and then every day when you hear they talking about the waste and the fraud, what they don't realize is that people who have collected Social Security in their golden years have moved on to the next chapter in their life. So they forget about this. But guys like us who have paid into the system, I've worked for over 40 something years. I'm still putting in. I work and I collect. So I'm working full time. But it's these kind of things that we worry about. So as far as Mr. Case is concerned and all of our, team over there in Washington is we hope that you guys put up the good fight. And then maybe sometimes we have to go back and we have to ask ourselves, what would the Dans do? What would Patsy do? What would Spock Matsunaga do? Sometimes you got to go back and you see what those guys would have done. And then you get some insight as to what these people would do. Sometimes we got to go back. So got to get together, stay as a team, fight the good fight. Appreciate it.
Congressman, as for the rest of the Hawaii delegation, are all fighters in their own way. Yeah. Congressman Case, though, does make the time. He still has to work with his Republican colleagues. The chairman of the powerful House Appropriations Committee, the committee that funds the government, the chairman his office right across the hallway from Congressman Case. We can smell his cigar smoke. That's when we know Chairman Cole of Oklahoma is in his office. So we have to be able to work with our Republican colleagues just to get things done. In fact, 87 members of what's called the Bipartisan Fiscal Forum, which is Republicans and Democrats trying to work together to try to cut down the federal debt, which is what, $36 trillion, north of 36 trillion. We pay like every year $860 billion in interest payments only every year to pay down that debt. So, you know, we are aware that there needs to be some, you know, handling of the federal spending. We're aware of that, but we're not going to subscribe to the the saying, move fast and break things, which is what that billionaire guy is. That's his motto, right? Move fast and break things. You have to be careful when you try to deal with the federal government and the kinds of programs and services that it provides for its people. Representative Takayama talked about Title I. A lot of kids in our schools rely on Title I, you know, for low-income children. School lunches, special education, the Pell Grants that fund college education, all of that's going to be affected. And that's just education alone. So, you know, we're aware of what is happening. We're trying to see what we can do to kind of stem the tide. But folks, we're in the minority, okay? The Democrats are in the minority. That's a fact. So we do what we can when we're in the minority. At the same time, we try to work with our fair-minded Republican colleagues to see that when, you know, they can realize the decisions that they're making together with the White House are going to affect people deeply and hurt them very badly if we're not careful.
Nestor, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the city. And my apology to the board here if under our board business tonight, we had a report on the city budget priorities for Pearl City. We weren't quite there yet for any type of reports. Mr. Bono, welcome. You looked really sharp the other day during your testimony during the budget meeting. You look good in coat and tie.
Thank you, Vice Chair Beret. Vice Chair Beret, Vice Chair Duran, members. This month's highlights of Mayor's newsletter, the city's Wahipana Art Initiative makes its debut celebrating Oahu's cultural and historical sites. Humo Olaho, a new transitional housing shelter for homeless individuals, opens at Evelay Center. Mayor Blangiardi introduces Roy Miyahira, the new city's new director of homeless solutions. There's an update for Oahu residents on FEMA's updated flood insurance rate maps that may impact residents and their insurance. And lastly, Honolulu gets designated as a bicycle-friendly community that includes improvements, one being at the Pearl Harbor bike path, in which the city has a portion of it being resurfaced with concrete, new lines, as well as lighting and bollards. So that's the update of the mayor's newsletter. First request was that we have a DTS representative tonight. Unfortunately, they did have a commitment to another town hall that I actually came from, and they were going a bit longer with some of the questioning for DTS.
And I got an email from Layden Akasaki, so I've
Kelly.
invited him to next month's meeting.
Yes, I saw her this evening as well. Resident Tom asked about residents having their suggestion taken into consideration. The DTS response was to bring up their concerns via their area council member, neighborhood board, or contact the DTS directly via their website. Left turn arrow light, a resident requested an update from September of adding a left turn arrow on Como Mai Drive, turning left onto Waimanu Home Road. This is a response from DTS from the January 28th meeting. DTS completed their investigation regarding a protected left turn phase for eastbound Como Mai Drive motorists turning left onto Waimanu Home Road. The left turn phase study included a review of the area's traffic collision history, traffic volumes surveys, and a site observation. The study found that the minimum values to warrant a protected left turn phase were not met. However, we will request that DTS Transportation Technology Division look into the feasibility of assigning additional green time for the east-west movement along Como Mai Drive during the morning peak period. Please be advised, however, that if additional green light time is added to Como Mai Drive, the green light time for Waimanu Home Road north-south movement will be shortened. So there is a give and take, push and pull in terms of traffic timing. Next request was member Inoue wants an update requested in September on the removal of a crosswalk on Waimanu Home Road near the intersection of Nanakai Street. As part of the traffic engineering devices at various locations Phase 3B project, the crosswalk at Nanakai Street and Waimanu Home Road will be removed, and a new crosswalk at the intersection of Kuala Street, Moanalua Road, Waimanu Home Road will be installed across of Waimanu Home Road on the Makai side of the intersection. Footpath indication lines. Member Weber requests a white line indicating the footpath from the intersection of Ho'olaulea and Waimanu Home Road to Pro City High School. DFM, we are currently consulting with DTS on the appropriate marking of a footpath. A legal paint and sign work order will then be prepared when appropriate. So it's priority for Pro City. I will continue to find out where we are on that. Okay. Broken fence. Resident Tom, my favorite resident, requested a broken fence on Como Mai Drive heading towards Palisades, Malka side near the hairpin turn needs to be fixed. DFM is in the process of repairing the damaged fence along Como Mai Drive. Any similar requests regarding city roads and streams, please email dfmroads@honolulu.gov, in which we can get more expedited response for any concerns as such. With that, I will take any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you for the update and thank you for some of the bad news, but you got some good news in there, at least. for Heidi.
Some good news, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Yes, thank you. I'm still not satisfied with the left turn situation. And in particular, I would be interested, I think we should see the detailed report. Share us the written document that where they arrived at their conclusions. And also, some of us have proposed that the signaling, for example, could allow, as we have at several intersections over here at Waimanu Home Road and Moanalua, where it's always at one time. In other words, if you're coming up Komomai Drive and student and headed eastbound, if you were to say not have a left turn lane, but you simply say, okay, everybody can go. And it's just left turn and straight at the same time. I don't think we've seen any consideration of that, rather than as an alternative to the dedicated left turn lane and signals.
So what I would suggest is Engineer Kelly Akasaki will be here next month. And that is probably the most appropriate time to ask those questions. And please, we heard your request for the engineering report, and I'm sure that can be provided as well.
Yeah, because yes, I think we definitely wanted to spend some time considering, as I said, alternative proposals. Thank you.
Hey, Dan, thank you. Anybody else here before we go virtual? Charmaine.
Thank you for the report. I'm not going to rehash all the things we've talked about for Komomai Drive for the past year. But I did want to let you know that there is water running across the road, the hairpin turn, in 2 locations. One near the park and one right where the water is supposed to go underneath the road. It is actually coming over the road. And so because our weather in the last 2 weeks, I've got to actually see it myself on 3 different occasions. And I think that is contributing to some of the issues that we're having. Also, there is a city.
Excuse me, Vice Chair, can you repeat that again?
There is
was
water. There is water running across the road in 2 locations on Komomai Drive along the hairpin. One below the Palisades entrance park and one right where the waterway is. There's a river waterway thing where where the fence always gets knocked down. There is actually water coming across the road, not running along the side of the road, but coming across the road. And I think that's an issue. Also, there is a city caution light on the bottom of the hairpin turn, and I've already made a 311 complaint over a month ago that is actually blocked by a tree, so you can't even see it. And I know board member, shared that he had gone out and confirmed the same thing. So if you could follow up on those for us, those seem to be real hazards, those 2 issues at minimum.
Will do, Vice Chair. I did also get your email regarding the DPP query. I've already forwarded it to DPP and they are on it to give you an update, hopefully next month.
Okay. Thank you, Charmaine. Definitely important information. I wasn't aware about the water over the road. Okay, board members, any other questions for Mr. Bono? Community, any questions? All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks
Enjoy
for coming
your
tonight.
holidays for those who have it off tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on. Councilmember Val Okimoto.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Board. Aaron Wilson with the Office of Councilmember Okimoto.
Welcome, Aaron.
I'm sorry.
Said welcome.
Oh, thank you. In the past month, the council considered some of the following important bills and resolutions. Bill 4, which reestablishes a process to obtain sponsorships for city facilities, parks, programs, equipment, and tangible property. Bill 11 provides for the strict regulation of electronic amusement devices to protect public health, safety, and welfare. And Bill 7, which amends the fire code to increase the penalties for the possession, use, explosion, or causing to explode any aerial devices. That is to align with some of the penalties the
the current state law has that don't align with the city current law. We are in budget season, working with the correspondence with the board has sent us and the council member in regard to certain projects they would like to see in the district, including the various park improvements, roads, etc. For instance, we have the dog park in Waiau. We're proposing for a dog park in Waiau District Park, as well as the repair of the Manana Pool, integration of complete streets, completion of repairs to the gymnasium. Let's see here. I did look at some of the priorities for the Pearl City themselves. One of them was a sports commission, so I called the mayor up. In 2018, Mayor Hanneman had actually commissioned sports commission that the current mayor actually sat on. No one in the office had any idea, so we're trying to still figure a little bit of that out. Our office also started looking into the Safer Routes to Schools program, the SRTS. It's part of the Transportation Alternatives Program, which can provide funding for sidewalk projects that support student walking and biking to schools. Currently inquiring with DTS and how to get more funding. They currently have about 400,000. We want to increase that. We put a link in the chat. I know that graffiti is an issue. To the HPD graffiti removal hotline. That hotline enables the public to report graffiti on both public and private property. Community Affairs Division monitors that hotline and then disseminates that. Also, the Adopt a Block. I know that someone was honored tonight. Very great program. There's a link in the chat for that as well. They require a minimum of 2 weeks processing time, and will supply the teams with the supplies needed. We looked into the emergency management threats to identify threats to the infrastructure due to the natural disasters and climate change. They actually currently have a plan, and that is updated every 5 years, so that should be online as well. Finally, we reported that there were problems in the men's restroom at Lehua District Park, and we're currently waiting on a response from Parks. And a constituent contacted us about an encampment that has taken over the pavilion near the Pearl Harbor bike path at the Blaisdell Park. The maintenance supervisor, with the assistance of the HPD, were able to clean that area up on March 10th of this month. I can take any questions back with me.
All right, Aaron, thank you for all the updates on that. Vice Chair, go ahead.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you. I think you gave me some information after the last meeting, so thank you for that. If you haven't yet circulated a list of all the projects that will benefit Pearl City precisely, could you please compile that and send that to all of the members that are proposed for this budget, as well as highlight the ones that council member has proposed? I think it's like right around now, was yesterday or something. That way we can keep track and know when to submit testimony in support of things. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Good points. Board members, any? In none, community? Thank you, Aaron. Give our regards to Councilmember Okamoto.
Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to Chancellor Carlos Penaloza, could not be here tonight. Vicky, are you online? All right,
Yes.
Vicky.
Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone. Well, thank you. First off, I just wanted to mention that we're going to be closed from April 18 to April 20 in observance of Good Friday and Easter. April 6 to 12 is National Library Week. The theme is Drawn to the Library. We have a lot of programs that week, so we're going to welcome everyone to come in. I'm just going to mention a couple of them. We have Tai Chi at 9:30 on Wednesday, April 9. We have our story time. We're going to have on Friday, April 11, we're going to have a Shrinky Think Art program at 2 p.m. Again, we have a lot of different programs, so if you're interested in attending, you can check out our website, www.librarieshawaii.org, or you can just contact the library to sign up for any of our programs. That's my report. I don't have anything else. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Vicky, thank you very much. And Some of us will be at the library next month because we got the Office of Climate Change. Is using the Pearl City Library to solicit information from the public. So we will, some of us will be there. Hey, board members, any questions for our librarian manager? I see none. Community? Vicki, as always, thank you so much for you and your staff.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, moving on. Okay, we have Arlen Ledward for the Board of Water Supply. Arlen? Okay, Arlen did not make it. So, Mr. Velasco, you got anything for Pearl City community
Yeah,
events?
one thing is Charger Palooza at the Pearl City High School. It'll be on April 3rd from 5 to 6:30. That's it.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, board members, all of you received the copy of the minutes. So can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve, Chair.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion changes? Okay, hear none?
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
we gotta, can we in the minutes, change Tom to Tam? I think he uses Tam as his
Yeah.
name. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank
I have him signing my little wheel book, his name. That's why I changed.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get it to the right one. Thank you. Okay, if there are no objections, we'll consider the minutes approved. Okay, and as far as share announcements, tomorrow, with my two hats, I'm president of my Wild Gardens Kaibi Town Home Association, and as well as being chair for Pearl City Neighborhood Board. The vice chair and I are looking at emergency preparedness, disaster preparedness. One thing that Pearl City doesn't have is a lot of CERT volunteers. This is the Civilian Emergency Response Team. And tomorrow I'll have on Zoom, we'll have Mr. Rodney Bouchard, who is the lead for CERT. We'll also have the Red Cross, and to talk about, it's going to be an information meeting only, and just to give us ideas of what we can do. But I definitely want to get out and start recruiting for Pearl City to make sure that we're ready. I just purchased a Starlink system that'll give us emergency communications for my homeowners association, and I'd hope to get the word out that other locations can have the same type of thing, because in a real disaster, we're going to lose all our cellular capability. Batteries can only go so far, and we definitely need communications to hear what's going on. The city and county, Honolulu, is going to have the Hawaii Food Bank, and they're participating in the fight against hunger. That's coming up on April 22nd. So please collect your canned goods and drop those off at designated locations in Anson, where it'll be here. Oh, that's right. It'll be at a Pearl City board meeting. So everybody bring a canned good, and we'll collect it, and Anson gets to carry all that stuff back to his car. Okay. And before I get on to talk about the meeting, we are honored here tonight that we have 3 candidates that put their names in for the next term for the Pearl City Neighborhood Board. And if there's no objections, board, I'd like to have each one of you come up there and may tell us what you'd like to do for us. You heard all the things going on today, because we need you. Thank you, Vice Chair, for reaching out.
Aloha, Michael Coloma Taylor. I live in Waiau. Currently, I work at the East West Center in Manoa, but I'm glad to announce that I've actually accepted a job with Senator Hirono's office as a community liaison. So looking forward to serving my community. I'm a recent graduate of Johns Hopkins, graduating with my master's in government. I'm a policy expert. I did research on Pacific Islands and Native Hawaiian issues. So despite not being a Native Hawaiian, very committed to Hawaii and the place where I take up space. So mahalo for all of your guys' service, and mahalo for your trust.
Mahalo.
Well, thank you for let us know about all the things that you're doing good, and it sounds like you got a great future ahead. All right, next.
Hello, how's it going? My name is Ryan Yamato. I'm currently employee of First Hawaiian Bank as a strategic planning officer. Background has just been in finance pretty much my entire working career. But I feel like I've always neighborhood boards have always been on my radar of something I wanted to participate and help the community. And this is the first time I've actually been able to, apply and had try to dedicate time to give back.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming tonight and sharing that information with us. Hey, Josh, you're up next.
Jose. I didn't know we were all supposed to dress up for this, but yeah, my name's Guy Stupio. I live up in Palisades. I just work for Design 5. I put up fancy curtains, nothing amazing, nothing special. It pays the bills. And I lived here my whole life, but yeah, cool. I'll be sitting at that table. When do we start?
Starting the fourth Tuesday in July.
All right. I'll wear my nice shirt.
And I hope you guys can show up next month. We have 2 more meetings, and then we say in sayonara to 3 of our board members that have done outstanding last 2 years. But I'm hoping they'll still be participating and sending emails and stimulating.
Now, Larry, what time is that thing on Zoom tomorrow?
Oh, it'll be at 6:30.
Okay.
And before I leave tonight, Doug, get your email. We'll send it to you. Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen. We by a stroke of luck, there were 11 positions and only 11 candidates. So things look pretty good for you. And other neighborhood boards, not all the slots are filled, because one thing about the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, we're at large positions. Other neighborhood boards, they're all in special districts. It's hard to pull people for that. So, and also, like I said, we used to be 13 members. We had a hard time getting quorum. We moved that down to 11, and all of a sudden that was the key number. So, but anyway, moving on to the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 next meeting will be held hybrid, virtual, in person, facilitated on WebEx virtually, and facilitated at Momilani Community Center here on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. The Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 meetings are broadcast on Focus 49 and aired on second Saturday at 6 p.m. and the first and third Fridays at 1 p.m. And if there are no other announcements, board members, this meeting is now adjourned, and you all have a safe trip back home tonight.